If you want to know what the best Hearthstone decks in the meta are right now, you've came to the right place. In this video we will look at what are the 5 best Hearthstone decks right now, but we will also check out what are all of the other working archetypes for each individual class. So stick around to the end. I'm also happy to announce that Blizzard actually gave me codes to give away this time, so if you guys want to enter the giveaway, drop a like to the video, subscribe to the channel and ring that bell notification, and also leave a comment telling me what your favorite deck in the current meta is right now. I will also be doing another giveaway on Twitter, so if you want to double up your chances, check out my Twitter as well. And also don't forget you can hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. I will draw the winners live on stream on December the 3rd, so make sure to check out the stream as well. Now let's check out the decks.
You are not prepared!
The first deck on the list is gonna be Blessed Priest, because this deck is just hella strong right now, as long as the meta is not completely trying to counter it. If you're not facing too many paladins or mages that run card removal like Shatter, you should be able to climb very easily with this deck if you know what you're doing with it. You're only running 5 minions in here, and you also have Switcheroo so you can reliably draw them out. The basic concept of the deck is, for the first few turns, you're basically just trying to draw cards and set up for a turn 4 or turn 5 big pop-off. The pop-off normally consists from you playing Radiant Elemental, a bunch of cheap spells that buff up the Radiant Elemental nice and big, let's say with Power Word Fortitude and Bless, or even Shadow Word Devour, then you switch over to Priestess Valish, and finish off with a strong Boon of the Ascendant, and that leaves you with a couple of very chunky boys. Radiant Elemental is going to be susceptible to silence, but the boon will not be, so you will still remain all those big stats even if the opponent silences you. We also have another curveball in here, which is the Sunwell. A lot of the times you're going to find yourself with very low amounts of cards, and if you also have Radiant Elemental in there, you could actually set up some pretty crazy RNG BS with this. Identity Theft can also be pretty clutch in some cases, and you can literally copy the opponent's big boy cards, and that way you could develop a win condition of your own from them. Anyway, your matchups are kinda polarized, and here Control Paladin is obviously gonna be your worst one, but also Thief Rogue is not very fun, because they get to tamper with your hands, and that's not cool. This variation of the deck is also not amazing against Ping Mage, because they're gonna freeze you a lot, and you don't actually run the single target silence here. Other than that, going first and second, Switcheroo is always gonna be amazing, and also your minions a lot of the times are a good keep too. Depending on the matchup, Shadow Word Devour might be pretty good, especially if you're against the Warlock. Priestess Valish is also pretty core. Boon of the Ascendant, I think you gotta have already a pretty good hand, like at least a Switcheroo to actually keep it. And if you already don't have Switcheroo, you might also want to be keeping Thrive in Shadows. Serpent Twig is actually not that amazing as a keep, because you don't really run that many Nagas. One on the coin, here's what it looks like, and again, your minions are pretty good. Illuminate's not horrible, Switcheroo obviously still MVP, and Shadow Word Devour against wide boards will be pretty good too. For other good priest decks, we also have Naga Priest doing just as good. It's still a hard deck, but it's a little bit less awkward than the Boom Priest, so you might want to give that one a go if Boom Priest is not your style. Quest Priest is still working just as fine with the 40 variant, and also Big Priest can be pretty good too. Other than that, the other decks are under 50 now. On the number 2 spot, we have Thief Rogue still doing hella strong, and this is basically almost all you see in Top Legend too, so the deck definitely is very capable of climbing high. The deck is very annoying to play against, mainly because of the ghastly Gravediggers, which really make it problematic for you to actually develop some good combos. It's incredibly annoying when they shuffle back your Denathrius or some core piece for you, and they basically cost you resources like that while developing a pretty decent minion on their own. And they get the Shadow Step It, which is even more annoying. They're also running Teotar, so that's an extra layer of disruption for them, but also they have a ton of extra good stuff that they can get from Jackpot, from their Reconnaissance. They get a bunch of secrets from Sketchy Stranger, and it's usually a Mage secret because that's the most high value. Private Eye thins out the deck very nicely, fishing out their 2 secrets. Swift Scale Trickster helps them cheat out Jackpot pretty well. Sprint allows them to never run out of gas. And they also have the MVPs like Gnolls, Krakatoa, Scabs, and also Tess repeats all of that crap to make it even more annoying. And same goes for Contraband Stash. There's also a Sardanephrius in this one, so basically, even if the random BS they discover is not enough, at the end Sardanephrius is just gonna come down and take the game from there. Matchup wise in Legend, this is what it looks like, and Fell Demon Hunter, Ram Druid, and Curse Imp Warlock are not gonna be super amazing for you, but all around you should be able to climb nice and good. Mulligan wise, here's what it looks like when going first. I'm really not sure Scabs should be this high in this case, but this is what the stats show. I think Ghastly Gravedigger should definitely be a bit higher, especially if you already have a good secret. Private Eye is also pretty nice. Sketchy Stranger, Jackpot, Blackwater Cutlass so you can discount. When on the coin, here's what it looks like again, and it's pretty similar. And it's actually quite surprising that Scabs goes very lower in the stats here, so that is why I feel like when going first it's not as amazing as it shows. But yeah, you get a good idea of what you should be looking for here. For other good rogue decks, we also have Miracle Rogue doing very well, and the deck is super high rolly and it can do some very crazy things as soon as turn 4. Mine Rogue is also just under 50%, so it's still usable, but probably not recommended. And Shark Rogue is just a lot lower than 50, so stay away from that most probably. On the number 3 spot, we have Fel Relic Demon Hunter, which has been strong for quite a while now. Back in the day, just Relic Demon Hunter was the way to go, but now, with the Fel package, it just feels a lot stronger. And even if you're not winning on the board, when Jace comes down, usually it's enough to clear the opponent. You also have room for Eldrazi Warblade in this one, so that gives you that extra bit of survivability, which can really come in handy against some matchups. We also have Lady Steno in here, so you can actually stack a lot of damage with her while loading up your Fel spells. And obviously we have Jace at the end. The full Relic package also helps a lot, because it gives you a lot of card draw, big board refills, and also a lot of good removal too. For the matchups, Aggro Druid is gonna be a bit too fast for you, and Beast Hunter, honestly I did not feel it being this strong, but yeah, it's not a bad matchup at all. Naga Priest is also close to the 50, Miracle Rogue apparently is way too quick for you, Curse Imp Warlock and Just Imp Warlock can be very strong against you as well, and same goes for Enrage Warrior. For the mulligan, here's what it looks like when going first. Your location is gonna be very good. Lady Steno can also be pretty nice, especially with a predation. Relic of Dimensions is also pretty core, and if you manage to pull that one out before playing Lady Steno, that's gonna give you a good amount of gas for her. Sigil for some card draw. Relic of Extinction is still not horrible, but try not to just waste it against some matchups, and same goes for Relic of Phantasms. Kurtrus can also be nice, but try to be curving into it. When on the coin, basically Relic Vault and Lady Steno are still MVP. Artificer apparently becomes a lot more keepable, your relics are still good, Chaos Strike, and even things like School Teacher and Venomous Scorpid. For other good Demon Hunter decks, we also have Aggro Demon Hunter doing surprisingly well lately, and like I said, just Relic Demon Hunter still exists without Jace, but I think that wraps it up with 3 Demon Hunter archetypes right now. On the number 4 spot, Beast Hunter is actually still doing very strong from Diamond to Legend, so if you still want to be playing this deck, you should be doing so. This variant is running the 2 Tarantulas and also Rat King in here, so it's gonna be a bit messy for your pet collector to fish out your Asheron Saber, but in the end of the day, those are all very good 5-drops to be pulling like that for free, so no harm, no foul. You still have Devouring Swarm, so you can throw Tarantulas at big stuff so you can get the Poison Boys out. And there's also a Houndmaster Shaw in this variant, which feels a little bit awkward, but I guess if you're facing too much aggro, it can definitely help. Other than that, the list is very much the same as it used to be. We're running one less Trog, so we have room for some of the other stuff, and Ramming Mount as well. For the matchups, as you can see, there's literally not a single bad one for you, so climbing should not be an issue at all. For the mulligan, basically you're trying to curve out, and when going first it looks like this. Wing Commander, I would not be keeping going first, that's for sure. If you're already curving out, Beastalker Tavish can be pretty good, and same goes for Akani. Wild Spirits is always great. School Teacher, again try to curve into it, and same goes for Hydrolodon. Caninatron and your weapon are still MVP, and Frenzied Fangs are also not bad, especially if you already have a 1-drop. When on the coin, Hydrolodon can actually be pretty strong, and it can literally be game-winning in certain matchups. Spirit Poacher is still very good, Draw can be amazing as well. Beastalker Tavish, try to be curving into it. Wild Spirit's still great. Sylvanas can actually make the cut, especially if you're against something like a Priest. Pet Collector is also fast enough here. Devouring Swarm, it's kinda iffy. Maybe if you're against some aggro deck and you already have something like a 1-drop and Bats. That way you can make a clean trade and actually get a bunch of steam back. And Sardonaphrius can also be interesting in some cases. If you already have a 1-drop, Doggy Biscuit also is a keep, both when going first and second. For other good Hunter decks, we have several variations of the 40 Beast variant, but there's also a 30 Beast Hunter that's actually doing very well right now, and you can check a guide about it on my channel for a similar variant. And the last deck on the list is still gonna be Curse Imp Warlock, and I'm actually happy to say that my variant with the 2 Defiles instead of your Grimoire Sacrifices is the best performing Curse Warlock from Diamond to Legend. It seems I'm the only one that played it on high-ish levels, but yeah, the deck is actually doing pretty well on these ranks, due to the fact that you're probably facing a lot more aggro here. Defile instead of Grimoire Sacrifice is kind of a double-edged sword, because if you're in a mirror matchup, you would definitely prefer Grimoire Sacrifice, especially if you already have a decent board yourself, but the thing is, with Defile you do manage to clear a lot bigger boards this way. So there's that. The other downside to Defile is it actually costs 2 mana, so that's 1 extra mana instead of the Grimoire Sacrifice, and that makes it a bit more awkward for you to trigger off your Lady Darkvein later. Other than that, the deck is pretty much the same, and you can check out my detailed guides about it, including several coaching sessions with it too. Matchup wise, here's what it looks like. Enraged Warrior is not a great matchup for you, but if you do get lucky with the early game removals, it could work out well. Everything else is actually pretty fair game. Priests are gonna be insanely hard for you, but that's about it. Mulligan wise, when going first, here's what it looks like. You definitely want your Flame Imp, your Librarian, your Wicked Shipment, and if you already have a good 1-drop, you can also consider keeping things like Library, Impending Catastrophe. Fiendish Circle is always gonna be a keep, no questions asked, and depending on the matchup, even Imp King Rafam might be a keep, especially if you already have some curve going. If you're against a priest or a mage, however, Imp King Rafam is probably not an amazing keep. Cultist is actually not a horrible keep as well, especially if you already have a 1-drop for it. But if you don't, I think you should toss everything. When on the coin, the situation is similar, but here you could also consider keeping a little bit of removal. Lady Darkvein is actually surprisingly good against faster matchups, so if you are suspecting you're playing against something like an aggro druid for instance, you could technically keep the Lady Darkvein because she's a ton of stats. Your 1-drops are still pretty good, Fiendish Circle is always a keep, and Imp King Rafam can also make the cut, depending on the matchup again. Mischievous Imp is also a good keep, especially if you're already curving into it when going first, but when going second you could just straight up keep him with nothing else. Again, Impending Catastrophe and your Vile Library can be great keeps, but try to have some curve going for it, at least a 1-drop. And depending on the matchup, you might even consider keeping a Touch, or a Drag Below, or a Defile, but don't overdo it, because you can never be too sure if you're against aggro or not. For other good Warlock decks, Phylactery Warlock is actually surprisingly doing very well right now. Imp Warlock is also doing just as good, and that's about it for Warlock. You have these 3 archetypes going over and over again. So that's it for the 5 best decks. Now let's check out the classes we haven't mentioned so far. Starting off with Druid, Aggro Druid, and Ramp Druid would be your best bets. I'm actually enjoying the hell out of Ramp Druid right now with Celestial Alignment, and the deck is really fun, and you have a lot of decisions with it. Again, you can check out my videos about it. With mages, we have Spooky Mage and Big Spell Mage, both with the 30 and 40 variant. Just Ping Mage with the 30 variant is doing well as well. And there are secret mages above 50% too, so you might try that one too. For Paladin we have Control Paladin with the 40 variant, and Reno included, but there are also variants without him. We have Pure Paladin with the 30 variant doing well as well. And Silverhand Paladin and Mech Paladin are not doing as amazing. For Shamans we have Control Shaman, Wolf Shaman, and Murloc Shaman, so take your pick. Control Shaman is doing best out of them, but also Murloc Shamans are kinda fast and cool too. And for Warrior, Enraged Warrior is still doing fine, but it does seem that the popularity dropped off for it. So that's gonna be it for this top 5 guys. Hope this helps you figure out what you wanna be playing in the last days of this expansion. Don't forget to enter the giveaway, and also don't forget you can hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.